Some people don't stay in pain because they have no choice. They stay because it feels familiar. And that's the part no one wants to admit. Because from the outside, it makes no sense. Why would someone stay in something that hurts them? Why would someone go back to the same situation again and again? The same people, the same mistakes, the same outcomes. And yet, they do. And maybe you've seen it, or maybe you've lived it. I remember someone telling me a story. He said he knew a guy who kept going back to the same relationship. It wasn't just toxic, it was exhausting. Every time it ended, he said it was over, that this time he was done. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, he believed it. He felt strong, clear, free. But then something would happen. A message, a memory, a moment of loneliness. And suddenly, everything he felt before would come back. Not the pain, not the arguments, not the disappointment, just the good parts, the comfort, the connection, the feeling of not being alone. And that was enough. Enough to go back, enough to forget why he left. And every time he returned, it got worse. Not immediately, but slowly. Like something was fading, respect, boundaries, self-worth, piece by piece, until one day, he didn't even recognize himself anymore. And here's the thing, that story is not rare. It's everywhere. Different people, different situations, same pattern. Because this is not about relationships. It's about something deeper. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar change. Let that sink in. Because when you've lived with something long enough, it stops feeling like pain. It starts feeling like normal. The chaos, the stress, the emotional ups and downs, they become part of your identity. And your brain starts to protect that identity, even if it's hurting you. Because your brain doesn't care about your happiness. It cares about your survival, and survival means predictability. So when something new appears, something calm, something stable, your brain doesn't relax. It resists because it doesn't recognize it. And what it doesn't recognize, it treats as a threat. I've seen this in another way too. A guy I once knew had a job he hated. Every single day was the same. Stress, pressure, no meaning, no growth. And yet, he stayed there for years. People would ask him, "Why don't you leave?" And he always had an answer. "I need stability. I can't risk it. It's not the right time." But the truth was simpler. He wasn't afraid of losing the job. He was afraid of the unknown, because in that job, he knew exactly what to expect, even if it was miserable, even if it drained him, even if it slowly destroyed his motivation. At least it was familiar. At least it was predictable. And that predictability felt safer than change. And this is where people get stuck, not because they don't want better, but because better feels uncomfortable. It feels unstable. It feels uncertain. And uncertainty is something most people avoid at all costs, so they stay in situations that hurt them, in patterns that repeat, in cycles that never end. And over time, they start to adapt. They lower their standards, they accept less, they tolerate more, not because they want to, but because it becomes normal. And that's how people lose themselves, not all at once, but slowly, quietly. Through small decisions, they stop questioning. And then something else appears. Something even more dangerous. Justification. You start telling yourself, it's not that bad. Things will change. I just need to try harder. They didn't mean it. This time will be different. But deep down, you already know the truth. Nothing is changing. Because nothing is being changed. And that's the hardest part. Admitting that the cycle is not happening to you. You're participating in it. And that doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Because patterns feel safe. even when they hurt. And here's something most people never say out loud. Sometimes, people stay in pain because they don't believe they deserve better. Not consciously, but somewhere deep inside. There's a belief, a quiet voice that says, "This is enough for you. This is what you get." And that belief comes from somewhere, from the past, from how you were treated, from what you experienced, from what you learned to accept. So now, anything better feels unreal. It feels unstable. It feels like it won't last. So you don't trust it. You don't allow it. You go back to what feels real, even if it hurts. And this is the trap, because real is not always healthy. Sometimes it's just familiar. And breaking out of that requires awareness. Not motivation, not inspiration. Awareness. Seeing the pattern, recognizing the loop, understanding what you keep repeating and why. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where things begin to change, not outside, but inside. Because change doesn't start with action. It starts with clarity. The moment you realize, I've been choosing this. Not because I want to, but because I'm used to it. And from that moment, you have a choice to continue the pattern or to break it. And breaking it won't feel good. At first, it will feel uncomfortable, unstable, wrong. Like you're making a mistake. But you're not. You're just doing something new. And new always feels like that. The real challenge is not leaving. It's staying away. It's not going back. It's sitting with discomfort. Without escaping, without running, without returning to what feels familiar. And that takes strength, real strength, the kind no one sees. Because the truth is simple. People don't stay in pain because they can't leave. They stay. Because leaving feels worse in the moment. But staying costs more in the long run. And one day, that cost becomes impossible to ignore. And that's when everything changes. Not because life forced you, but because you finally saw it, clearly, honestly, without excuses. And that moment is where your life begins to shift. Not perfectly, not instantly, but for real. Because for the first time, you're not choosing what feels familiar. You're choosing what's right. And that is where change begins.